Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a bit since I've posted here, and today I have something a little bit different for you. Recently I ordered an Ender 3 3D printer, and it has opened up many new possibilities for me in terms of projects. I decided to get started with something fairly simple to allow me to develop my CAD and 3D printing skills at the same time. The first idea that popped into my mind was to replace the fan control dial in my truck. I drive a 2000 Toyota Tundra, and when we got the truck, the far left dial to control the fan speed was damaged, causing it to slip off very easily when driving on bumpy roads or if something comes in contact with it. This was often frustrating as I could go flying under a seat or into a crevice, forcing me to pull over and look for it before being able to control the air conditioning again. I spent some time inspecting the factory knob to determine if the damage occurred to the knob or the truck, and luckily it was the knob that was damaged. Upon this further inspection, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to try my hand at functional 3D printing. The success criteria for this project would be that the knob would stay in position, have ergonomic features, and not be an absolute eyesore. With that in mind, I got into my truck and took some simple measurements for reference images that I then imported to Fusion 360 for making a test fit piece. I didn't yet own a caliper, so my measurement method was certainly lacking some precision. Despite that obstacle, however, my first iteration was fairly accurate as far as connection to the vehicle goes. I intentionally made the outer diameter smaller than necessary to allow me to see the piece's connection with the vehicle while still functioning as a working knob. With this initial test showing positive results, I moved forward with a larger outer diameter, along with some bumps around the outer perimeter to make the knob easier to grip. I also added an indicator line to show what position the knob was currently in, similar to the white line on the factory knob. I was once again fairly pleased with the results of this test, however I was not a fan of the way the knob looked. With that in mind, I went back to Fusion 360 to adjust it more to my liking. At this point I was happy with the design and it was functional for its purpose, however the eyesore criteria had yet to be sorted out. I was printing in orange because that was the first color I ordered, and while I waited for some black filament to show up, I decided to do some tests with finishing my prints using spray paint to see how I liked the result. I started off with sanding, then 2 coats of Rust-Oleum primer, followed by 3 coats of Rust-Oleum tough protective enamel intended for barbecue exteriors. After waiting for the finish to dry overnight, my black filament arrived, and I printed the knob in black so that I could compare the two. I wish I could tell you that my preference is obvious, but it's actually very close, and I'm really not certain which one I like more. I do prefer the matte finish of the painted knob, however there are some inconsistencies that I think are a result of sanding, which I am not so fond of. There is also the argument that the non-painted knob is much easier to create consistently. I'm going to think on it for a few days before I decide which one I like better. The more important part is that I really am happy with both outcomes. So what are my takeaways from creating this knob? For starters, this project definitely helped me lay the foundational groundwork for my CAD knowledge. Following tutorials on YouTube and making example parts definitely have their place, but in my experience, they are no substitute for solving your own problems with a set of criteria you have to follow. This also reinforced the importance of iterative design and making small changes, then analyzing those changes to better inform myself for the next step. There were actually 8 versions of this knob in CAD. These were just the 4 landmarks that actually got printed along the way. Many times I would make a change and determine that I wasn't happy with it, leading me to revert to a previous version and try again. Ultimately, I would call this project a success. It meets all of my criteria, and more importantly, I learned a lot while doing it. Thank you for listening to me talk about my process, and I hope this inspires you to go out and engineer a solution to something in your life. Let me know in the comments what you decide to make. I really would love to hear about it. With that being said, that's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next one.